The story starts with a man of the name of Norman McKay reading the Book of Revelations to a man named Wesley Dodds who was on his deathbed. Wesley Dodds was previously a superhero named Sandman who could see future events such as murders or disasters. Wesley has been having visions of the apocalypse, and while not clear on much, he believes that it will be brought about by warring superhumans who will eventually destroy the planet. Norman McKay is writing that off as near-death hallucinations. After Wesley's death, Norman gives us an explanation of the world as it is at this moment. We find out that almost every single superhero of old, such as Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, have either retired or effectively become useless and stopped crime fighting altogether. In their place, we have a new breed of superheroes that has no problem endangering citizens' lives, destroying property, and fighting other heroes over turf. The backstory for this is revealed when Norman McKay is visited by a ghost named the Spectre, who serves effectively as the hand of God and metes out God's will. The Spectre then tells Norman that he has been chosen to help the Spectre judge who is to blame for the current state of the world. After that, Norman and the Spectre set out on a journey. Very soon, they revealed that the Joker 10 years ago murdered 93 people at the Daily Planet, including Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane. The Joker was captured and was about to be tried when he was murdered by a vigilante named Magog. Because of the gruesome nature of the Joker's crimes, the people wanted to let Magog off the hook. Realizing that humanity no longer seemed to care about justice, Superman left the humans to deal with Magog and his own heroes in their own way. Because Superman was such an icon in the superhero community, many others, like Green Lantern and Wonder Woman, began to leave their posts as superheroes when he left. However, when two groups of the new heroes start battling on a bridge in Metropolis, Superman arrives and puts a stop to the fight, seemingly having left his retirement. From here we see part of the story from Superman's perspective. We learn that during his 10-year solitude, Wonder Woman tried to get him to come back to humanity. She had him watch a newsreel in which Magog leads a team against a supervillain named the Parasite. A man named Captain Atom with the power of a nuclear bomb is killed, and that releases his power, effectively setting off a nuclear bomb in Kansas. Back in the present, Superman has assembled a team of his old friends. The only noticeable missing is Batman. Superman visits Bruce Wayne in what's left of his manor. Bruce tells us that it was destroyed by Two-Face and Bane after Superman left. Also, Arkham Asylum and 2 other prisons were destroyed, either killing or setting free all of the villains and psychopaths they held. Batman then refuses to join Superman because when the superhuman community exploded, Superman left instead of staying on as a role model. Batman also tells Superman that his team will only incite more violence because he is effectively imposing his will on other heroes. Batman then suggests a more diplomatic approach. After Superman leaves, Batman reveals that he has his own team of superheroes, providing him with information from the outside of Gotham. Both Superman and Batman have started recruiting more forces by this point. Superman's team faces many rebellions and fights, and he puts anyone who doesn't want to join him in an enormous prison in Kansas called the Gulag. He is dismayed to find that the Gulag has more prisoners than the Justice League has team members. Batman, conversely, allies himself with Lex Luthor, and they start building robots who would be capable of taking down these new superheroes. The conflict comes to a head with Batman, Superman, the prisoners, and humanity when a riot breaks out at the Gulag. The Justice League tries to stop it, but they are outmatched by sheer numbers. Superman's attempts are stopped by Shazam. Going back to Norman and the Spectre, we get an amazing dialogue about the parties involved. Realizing this might very well be the end of the world, Norman describes the scene in incredible detail, talking about Superman's predicament and his conflict on how to act. We then find out that humanity has launched a nuclear warhead at the site. The Spectre then instructs Norman McKay to choose who will be punished. If Superman stops the bomb, the fight will engulf the Earth, but otherwise the superhumans will die. The Spectre tells Norman to choose who is responsible, humanity or the superhumans. Superman gives Shazam effectively the same choice that the Spectre gave Norman McKay. He's asked to judge who is responsible, the humans or the superhumans. Shazam, instead of choosing between saving all of humanity or saving all of the superhumans, triggers the bomb above the battleground, killing many but not all of the superhumans. Superman, believing he's the only superhuman left, flies to the UN to punish them for killing so many people. Norman McKay arrives and talks Superman down. He tells him that somewhere along the line, Superman forgot and lost his humanity, that it always had him make the right choice in spite of what he wanted. We then find out that roughly 40 or 50 superhumans had survived the nuclear warhead by the good graces of Green Lantern's ring and people who were completely invulnerable to it. Superman, having not killed everyone, in closing states that instead of imposing his will on humanity, he will lead them into a brighter tomorrow in hopes to create a lasting peace on Earth, because he is, after all, the man of tomorrow.
Part 2. Superman. In this story, the main question is who is responsible for the current state of the world and how it should be dealt with. Superman believes that the fault of the world's state lies on the people of Metropolis and to the lesser extent, the vigilante Magog. The reason I say to the lesser extent Magog is because even though he killed the Joker, it really wouldn't have meant anything unless if the people of Metropolis backed up his action, justifying it for Magog. As for how it should be dealt with on this issue, Superman is kind of a communist. From his perspective, all of the problems have been a result of people, specifically superhumans, running rampant, which is true to at least some extent, though not completely true. Superman tries to recruit all of the superhumans to his own personal team, forcing them to operate within a very specific set of rules, where there is no room for gray morality. Everything is black and white. Anyone who disagrees with him is put in a giant re-education camp where they are taught Superman's form of morality, effectively giving them a slow-working brainwash. In the end, Superman enforces a police state on superhumans, stopping all superhuman activity short of Batman's team. Part 3. Batman. In Batman's view, the whole thing is Superman's fault. He's bitter and that's why he won't join Superman's team. Also, he sees that Superman isn't affording most of the superhumans an opportunity to just live a normal life or operate by themselves even if they aren't doing anything wrong. Batman's problem stems from his use of force. He spends all of his time recruiting new superhumans like Superman, and he deploys them as he sees fit. The difference here is that Superman locks up everyone that disagrees with him, and Batman just lets people do what they want, even if it sometimes means they get locked up for doing it. Batman's problem, though, is that he never tries to communicate with the government or any other human-run organization, so he isn't fully capable of protecting them. Part 4. Magog and the Man of Tomorrow. Early in the story, Magog and Superman are at odds. Magog kills the Joker, even though the right thing to do would have been to take him alive. For this, Superman takes him to court, but the jury finds him not guilty on account they thought he did the right thing. They even take a poll to see who in Metropolis thinks the Man of Tomorrow should be, and they choose Magog. Later in the story, after they nuke Kansas, Superman meets Magog again, and Magog says, quote, "This is your fault. The world changed, but you wouldn't, so they chose me. They chose the man who would kill over the man who wouldn't, and now they're dead. A million ghosts. Punish me, lock me away, kill me. Just make the ghosts go away." Magog would kill. Thus, people chose him as the Man of Tomorrow. They chose the man without morals because it looked like the easy way out of their problems, even though all it did was create a generation of amoral anti-heroes. Shazam, Superman, and Norman McKay, Part 5. Towards the end of the story, both Norman and Shazam are given the same question. Who dies, humanity or the superhumans? Norman has seen both the superhuman and the human perspective on this issue, having lived through it as a human, and seen it from the superhuman perspective because of the Spectre. Unlike Norman, though, Shazam is in a unique position to answer this question. His powers let him live in both the world as a normal human and as a superhuman, making him the best person to answer the question. But as with all hard questions, the answer isn't a nice one. He saves as many lives as he can, but most of the superhumans still die as a result of it being an almost impossible situation. Conclusion. Kingdom Come is the story about what it means to be a hero and how they should act. It starts with the amoral anti-heroes who have no problem killing for territory, and it ends with the heroic sacrifice of Shazam to stop the war and save the world. Because the role of a hero is defined by the refusal to take a life, as Superman states, I asked him, Shazam, to choose between humans and superhuman, but he alone knew that was a false division and made the only choice that truly matters. He chose life. That is the main role of superheroes, because above all else, that is the most important thing, the sanctity of life. My name is Isaac Bradley, and this has been Kingdom Come. Goodbye.